Hello everyone, my name is Maribel, and today we're going to be talking about a certain kind of reptile. We're going to learn more about it, and then we're going to build our very own. So, what kind of reptile are we talking about today? Today we're going to be talking about the very amazing snake. So, we're going to learn more about it and then get started on the building. So how many of you like snakes? Some people love them, some people are terrified of them. But first, how would you describe a snake? How many legs does a snake have? 0. And how many arms does a snake have? Again, 0. So snakes don't have any arms, any legs, and so they have these very thin, elongated, slivery bodies, so they can get into most places very easily, and they're really good at hiding themselves. Snakes are also reptiles, which means that they are cold-blooded. So snakes, if they're cold-blooded, are not able to change the temperature inside their bodies. So snakes don't like cold temperatures very well, or else they start to feel very tired. So snakes live in very warm temperatures. And how does a snake move around? They'll use their body to sliver around in the ground, and they're very short-sighted as well, so they have trouble seeing from long distances. So those are some quick facts about snakes. But first, where do you think snakes live? Have you ever seen a snake before? Like we said, snakes like to live in warm temperatures, so they live a lot in rivers or lakes, swamps, deserts, or inside of the grass. And what do you think they like to eat? So snakes will eat whatever they can find. They'll usually feed off of mice or loaches, birds, worms, or different kinds of insects. So is a snake a carnivore, a herbivore, or an omnivore? Snakes are carnivores, which means they only like to eat other animals. So those are some foods that snakes love to eat. Let's look at the life cycle of a snake. So in the world, there are over 2,700 different kinds of snakes, but they all have the same type of life cycle. So a snake will lay their eggs, and female snakes can lay anywhere from 6 to 100 eggs at one time. They'll lay these big eggs, and once they hatch, we'll have a baby snake, or what we call a hatchling. Now, depending on what kind of snake it is, a snake can grow to be an adult snake in anywhere from under a year to 5 to 6 years, depending on how big of the snake is when it becomes an adult. Now, a lot of people are scared of snakes because some of them are very poisonous. So you never want to get bitten by a snake because you never know if you can get infected by their fangs. So if you ever see a snake, a good way to protect yourself and avoid being bitten is to run in an S-like shape. That's because it's going to confuse the snake and it's going to make it harder for them to follow you. So be sure, if you ever run into a snake, to run in an S-like position. And If a snake is not bothering you, then be sure to not disturb it. As long as you leave them alone, they will leave you alone, which is a good thing. So we talked about some foods that snakes enjoy, but there are some things that snakes do not enjoy. They don't like bad temperature, so they hate bad storms. They're also very scared of fire, smoke, and the smell of vinegar because it's very strong and pungent. So those are some things that snakes do not like. Now, we've learned some things about snakes. We've learned about their life cycle. We've learned about things they like to eat, things they're scared of, what to do if you ever see a snake, and we know where a lot of them like to live. So with that being said, we are ready to build our very own snake. We want to make sure that it has a very long, elongated, skinny body. It has no arms, no legs, and we're going to start with the build by beginning with the middle of its body. So make sure you have all your parts out, and you're going to start by taking a 2x8 red brick, place that down, and now take 2 green square blocks and lay that on one end next to your 2x8 block. So you make an L shape. Now take a yellow 2x8 block and you're going to make an S shape by placing it right along the last green square block that we put. So we have an S shape. And now this is going to make up the frame for the body of our snake. So we want to connect all these pieces together. So take a 2x8 brick and place that along all of those bricks. So it should be touching the yellow, the green, and the red if you place it vertically. So that way the whole body of our snake is held together. And now you're going to want to take a yellow square block and you're going to place that on the other end of your snake. So on the end of your 2x8 red brick from the beginning. Now take a 2x4 yellow brick and place that in between in the spacing of the red 2x8. And now you're going to take a yellow square block and you're going to place that onto the other end of your snake. Now taking 2 2x4 plates, stack them on top of each other so you make a stair shape, and you want to leave 2 pins so it's only connected to half of the one that's under it. And you're going to give your snake a tail by just placing it on the end of this 2x8, making sure to point it vertically. And now we're going to go back to the head of our snake so we can finish off the head. Take 3 of your squared 2x2 blocks, so those are your square pieces, and make a tower using 3 blocks. Now placing a squared block with the rounded end on top. Once you have this piece, you can go ahead and stick that onto the end of your snake. And we have the head of our snake, the body of the snake, the end of the snake, and that is it. We have a snake. So that's it for the build, and let's go over what we learned today about snakes. So let's see if you can remember a few things. First, what is one thing that a snake likes to eat? Second, what is something that snakes are scared of? Third, what is one place that you will find a snake in? So where do they like to live, usually? And lastly, what is the life cycle of a snake? And that is it for today's build. Once you're done with the model, you can feel free to make more snakes. There are other kind of styles of snakes that you can build. In the slide, there are 2 examples. So I encourage you, now that you know how to build one snake, see how many other snakes you can build. And once you're done with your pieces, make sure to put them away, clean up. And that's everything for today's build. I've enjoyed learning about snakes with you guys. Do you like snakes? Are you scared of them? Do you think they're cool? That's it for today's build. And with that being said, we will see you for the next one. Bye, everyone.